Check 1 2. All right, we have our weekend review. This is essentially a month-end review with us only having one trading day left, being next Monday, and then also quarter 4 of this year starts. So 1 quarter left. This year flew by, but let's get right into it. So we have our ES monthly chart here. I mentioned last week that we were still inside not only August, but July was the main watch, the high and the low, these two lines that I had drawn out from last week. And the low of this month bought up beautifully at the low, and we pushed to all-time highs. You can see this wick, and this candle is not closed yet. We have one more trading day and a glowback section, but pretty much at that high. So this is a big tell. Can we close above it or not? Being month end as well as quarter end, you have lots of funds rebalancing their portfolios. You have all different time frames, long time frames, medium, short time frame. So a lot of things can be going on. And then being month end even, you have a lot of shorts, either you have them exiting their positions. If they're long, they're going to sell, and if they've been short the whole month, they're going to buy to cover. So lots of things going on. And then today, Friday, was just a very odd day. What was it? We traded in felt like a glowback session. This is a 5-minute chart. The hour initial balance was a 15-point range on ES, which Fridays, I don't necessarily enjoy trading Fridays. My theory is most traders made their week. Many take the day off. If Fridays are good, and this is just from my experience, they're good until 11 or lunchtime. After lunchtime, if most traders haven't taken the day off, they most definitely are after lunch for the early weekend. So yeah, now that I got that out of the way, sorry for that rant, but this low was bought up inside, as I mentioned. This can be a huge determining factor if we can close above into all-time highs or not, because we got stuffed. So, but just a quick little recap. Beautiful bought up at previous all-time highs, and then bought up in the July month range, which actually you could say this was previous supply flipped into demand, and actually almost to the tick. Was it to the tick? Almost. And then on the weekly, just trendline breakout, higher low. This zone obviously absorbed there. So beautiful higher low, higher low, higher low, stuffed. But we broke above these two levels, so that's good. I talked about that last week. So really the only update this week is getting stuffed on the all-time highs and the low getting bought up. Now, average daily range, I like to talk about this a lot if you follow the channel. Highest was 113. We saw a low all the way at 43. The local low is 67, and we're currently back at 67. So we'll see if that holds or not. See if the volatility picks up, especially going into quarter 4. You have so many funds that took off for the summer because they made their year maybe, and they're coming back to, finish cooking the books a little more and, finish the year strong. So let's see if we see another great October and then Santa Claus rally, So we have essentially half the ADR today. If you've been following, I've been watching this 50% retracement, which was bought up essentially 3 different times on ES, which this is just 50% mark fib, and then 61% golden zone from the swing high to low. And I've had this drawn out since we were up here. This was a target to see a higher low, which we did. Now on the daily, where were we? 18. So basically not much happened this week. We first candle was here, broke out above, but we could not we got stuffed at this high from the prior week, from the big push into all-time highs, and then based on the old all-time highs, and then push, fail, closed green, push, fail, closed red. So I do not like us keep getting stuffed in all-time highs, but I do like that we closed above this line once again. So, and I did mention last week because of this that when we push in all-time highs, I like to see strong pushes in continuation, signaling, you know, a strong market. You know, you can speculate all you want why this happens, but you know, you break an all-time highs, more people want to buy in, they want to hop in, and or shorts are covering, they're getting margin called. And I'm just trying to find an example here. Like right here, all-time high stuffed, all-time high stuffed, all-time high stuffed, and then complete reclaim of this move. So, but the fact that how aggressively this got bought up and then this got bought up, it's not completely bad. So definitely look for follow through on all-time highs, but we got a key level right here. Now drilling down, we have this up gap from overnight that held, was bought up, and then Globex gap held, wasn't even tested, and then look at this drastic data candle. I believe it was FOMC, was it? Yes, it was a Wednesday. FOMC candle, gnarly, bought right back up on this upside gap, taking out, and we took out this downside gap here. This would have been a downside gap. We took it out, so that's bullish. Go up, we're back in the previous box. This was lower, but I raised it to fit the new box. Little fake out. And now as we get to the recent, created a overnight up gap, started a new box, stacking on top of the old box, very clean. And then this is the midline of this overnight gap. Could not get below it, so they are buying at the 50% mark. Algos were loving it, / dip buyers. And so we've been holding this up gap, created a new box, and then this overnight came. We created a massive up gap. Asia ran it, London ran it, and then the US dumped it. So that, I mean, when you grind up all night overnight like that, it's 50-50. Either, you know, partially you expect to see some pullback, especially you expect to see some healthy pullback, but in all-time highs like that, I don't like to see getting stuffed that nasty, because, you know, think about it. We spent how many days here? Just in this range, we spent 6 days. So clearly there weren't too many shorts caught with their pants down when they woke up here, because, or the selling just overweight it, people taking profits. You can speculate all you want, but big up gap, stuff down, ended up holding the top of the box essentially. So this supply turned into potential demand. But now we have, so I'm going to delete this because the gap was taken out. Now though, we have a lower high here. So that's something to worry about. So watching the low of this candle to continue validating that lower high is definitely on watch, but we'll get into that. A little better view. Nice wick, bought up. Supply created, held for a little bit at the RTH, and then down. So this zone right here, definitely a big watch. 30-minute view. Not much to say that I haven't already. I'm just showing this for you guys. I'm going to go back to the 1 hour. I just want to peep the volume profile. So this high volume node, this is all one curve here. And this is high volume node, low volume node. Have been stalling here, which we already knew this was where buyers were present. So it makes sense. So that's some nice confluence that we have with this gap and this demand zone. Now weekly profiles, last week, I drew these out last week. I said I wanted to see us hold above the previous week as always. Failed to do so. In fact, this week we closed below it. Not too far below, and you can see we have this nice wick where we can expect buyers to be back, but whoever was buying here, if they stop, reclaim of this move right here. So not ideal. Now we got monthly profiles. We have an entire move from last month here. Has not been reclaimed. Well, actually 50% of it has. So that's really good. Nice healthy higher low. Pushed all-time highs. And this is very nice because we held above last month's high. So we could not hold above last week's high, but we're still holding above last month's high. So that's a very good sign. Now as far as levels, pretty similar levels to the prior week, just slightly different. So for the low area, 5,500 to 5460 is below, major line in the sand, and then above we have 5785 to all-time highs at 5830. And if you are new to the channel, basically if I repeat, yes, I'm going to end up repeating price levels, and if you hear me repeating it, if anything, that's a better sign for a stronger level, because I'm doing top-down analysis and just reading you levels. So now below on the weekly, we have 5740 to hold, and the bottom of that 5720, and then if that doesn't hold, 5670, and then we'll go all the way as far as a zone below that at 5475 to 5450, and then above, obviously we have 5780 to all-time highs at 5830. Now the weekly, or sorry, daily, I can't stress how bad I want to see us, that we gotta hold this 5780, this previous all-time highs. At least put no daily bodies below it. A little bit like this one is okay, but I do not want to see a lot of body below this. Just wicks, maybe a small portion of the body. So we have 5785 below, and then a zone here at 5750 to 5730 below, And then again, obviously 5,800 to all-time highs at 58.31. And then on the daily, this higher, I'm sorry, blah, 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 it's late. This lower high must be taken out. I do not want to see us create a lower low. That is not a good sign from the top-down analysis, because then that will show a shift in market structure that bulls do not want to see. So must break above 58.20 and hold to get into all-time highs. Cannot lose 57.80 to 57.70. And by lose any of these levels, I mean accept. But once again, wicks below do not matter. Wicks below do not matter. I don't want to say they don't matter, but it's not unvalidating that level. I'm starting to ramble now anyways, but so on the 1 hour, it's same thing as these 3 different time frames. I'm just drilling down for you, but I also forgot to say this gap must hold, preferably the 50% and up mark, with the 50% mark being 57.35. Yeah, really, those are the main things. Taking out this lower high and not putting in a lower low. Now you can draw a zone here from 57.90 to 57.80 and expect buyers there, and or put one here. From 57.75 to 57.70, but if we do end up getting down here and holding, that is a lower low. So if we do get here and accept here, I wouldn't plan on coming back here very quickly. 30-minute, same thing really. I don't like to see this supply created here. Oops. This supply created here. And then we have this, this is the lower high that needs to be taken out. And yeah, nothing, this is just more for you guys to see, nothing really to say that hasn't been already said. Now we want to reclaim previous month high at, we're just going to round up 5,800, hold that. If we lose, then hold this high note at 57.80, and then same thesis for the monthly. Hold above 57.28, previous month high. Now let's get into NQ. Now NQ's monthly, still inside the range from July. Doesn't look as good as ES as far as all-time highs wise, but I love how we dip was bought above previous all-time highs. So grabbed all this liquidity from this range, which is a currently 92-day range. Grabbed all those stops and ran it up higher. Market maker said thank you, we'll take that, and ran it higher and sold it up here. And so the month, really want to see this month close higher, which pretty sure I said on ES, but same theory. I want to see the monthly candle close above the previous month or the inside bar. So at the very least, I want to see this month candle close above this month's candle, and if anything, close above this one to be more bullish. Now on the daily, really nice looking almost W sort of pattern. Nice higher low we put in. Sorry, this is weekly. Bought up in this zone. Looks like we bottom ticked it and grabbed the liquidity and stops. Got a nice looking W. Higher low. Pushing. Don't like that we got stuffed before the week could end. Next week will be a big tell. And see if we can make our way to here. Now on the daily, ATR, unlike ADR, sorry, unlike ES, sorry, they're backwards. No, we did not do more than the ADR. We did a higher percentage of it, but we did not break it. You can see it's trending downward, and we are at this low of this pivot, so it's not super low though. It's a good sweet spot, and if you've watched my previous videos, you've seen me talk about the sweet spot on it. But wicked above this zone, not good. Yes, this candle closed green, but look what happened. Engulfed it almost perfectly. So definitely will be on watch, and then to see if how this zone ends up holding. Now, so weekly looks really good because of this W, but with the daily, we have to take out this zone and put in a higher high. This cannot be an equal high, relatively equal high, and us come down and create a lower low, lower than this. On the 4 hour, we are in a box, went above, traded in a new box. Just like ES, grinded up all night into on NQ local highs, and then puked, held in the previous supply, and then just like ES, nasty lower high, and same boat to where we cannot go lower except and put in a lower low, because that would put us back in this box. And just like ES, this gap, upward gap, must hold, and this is the 50% mark here, which got bought up. So really want to see this hold and get bought up, continue to be bought up. Here's your 1 hour view. Not much to really talk about besides a visual of the price action. 30-minute. And now on the weekly profiles, this is this week and last week. Hanging on by a thread on last week's high. And on the monthly, we are below last month's low. So neutral on the weekly to bearish as far as taking out prior's high of the time frame. Do not want to see us end up coming back in this chop and then reclaiming this move potentially, and that would look like this. Oops. So now for NQ levels, above we have this month's high at 2540, 20,600, and then all-time highs at 21,205. Below 19,100, 18,960, 18,600, and I guess I'll go one more lower at the previous all-time highs at 18,430. On the weekly, this week's high at 20,550, and then the zone starting at 20,800 to all-time highs at 21,220. Below, we have a zone at 19,715 with a low of 19,540. And then a zone below at 18,875 with the low being 18,575. On the daily, above, zone starting at 20,345 with the high of this week's high at 20,546. And then upside targets being zone starting at 20,820 to 21,030, and then final zone 21,135 to all-time highs at 21,220. Just like ES on the 4-hour, must take out this lower high to invalidate it. Need to see a market structure shift to the upside, otherwise we're going to end up seeing one to the downside. So same levels. You got this 20,400 zone, and then the 20,500 to 550 zone. Below, we have the previous box zone from 20,200 to top of the gap at 20,060. Middle of the gap, 19,850, and the bottom is 19,640. And this gap must hold. If this gap doesn't hold, that is not bullish. And so say we end up trading back in this previous box range, I do not want to see us for a bull case end up in this previous box range. So 1 hour, no extra levels. This is once again just a visual thing for you guys. Want to see us hold September's high at 20,200. I'm sorry, that's last week's high. And then hold September's high at August high. I'm sorry guys, it's really late, as you can see, for me at least. Hold last month's high at 20,275. And we have this nice high volume node for confluence. So now as far as data, this is just US medium to high impact, 2 stars medium, 3's high. Monday we have high impact. We got Powell speaking and Chicago PMI. Here's your times. We got a red folder high impact on Tuesday. S&P manufacturing, ISM, and JOLTS. You can read the medium impact yellow folders yourself. Wednesday, another red folder. Love to see early, as many red folder days as possible. Mondays without a red folder are the worst. Non-farm, crude oil, obviously it's Wednesday. And then that's it for the red folders. Thursday is a red folder. Jobless claims initial. S&P PMI. ISM non-manufacturing. So every day, even Friday, we have a red folder. month over month average hourly earnings, non-farm payroll, that will be interesting. Unemployment rate also will be interesting. And I'll give you a minute to read the rest of the 2-star yellow folders. Now, to go through the individual ticker stocks. We have on IWM, gap here that held. This gap, looks like they grabbed the bottom of the liquidity from it, and don't like to see all the red candles, but held. Let's see what it looks like on the futures one. So this looks a little better because this has overnight data, overnight futures data in it. Green and pushing up, making a nice V or potential W, but stuffed by sellers, stuffed by sellers. So that'll be on watch. I like just looking at SPY anyways, just because compare it to the futures. So as you can see, gapped up above the all-time high doji, shoved down even though we had a wick with buyers, and this candle is a lower high that got stuffed, even though we do have signs of buyers in these wicks. Now for the Qs, failed to fully take out this gap and got shoved back down. Really want to see us hold above here. Bitcoin. These weekly fair value gaps have been great. Have pretty much been in a range the entire year. Big money's been buying up the 48 to 50,000 zone and selling the 60 to 70,000 zone. So I know you see all kinds of people on the internet, you know, hoping for all-time highs soon, and I'm not saying that's not possible, but think about it, they've been saying that every day this entire year. So really know when you're in a ranging market and when you're in a trending market and trade accordingly. But these weekly fair value gaps are holding, and looks like we're on a nice push right now. So this weekly fair value gap that we failed before is the current upside draw on liquidity, so that's on watch. As far as the daily, almost accepting. I want to see a little more above this pivot and supply zone, both of these, pivot, supply zone, and then yeah, we can get up to here at 70,000. And once we're up here, it doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. This is a major range that needs to be taken out, but I believe if we can accept above this, it's blast off. But we've been in it for a year, we can be in it for a couple more years. If you're not new to crypto, oh sorry, this chart doesn't go back far enough. You know what crypto winners are. So let's check out just commodities real quick. Gold just still strong, ripping up. Yeah, we had a nice little sell-off, but it's so strong that doesn't even worry me. Check the weekly, very strong. Silver, nice higher low, major push. Is that all-time highs? Nope, stuff just before. I like this wick and previous supply though. I want to see how this pans out next week. Give you guys a quick look at the dollar. Dollar falling. This is the weekly, but this zone where they grab the liquidity and then put in a higher low, even though this is the lower low technically, this zone is the last line of defense for the dollar. We got a failing supply, lower high, lower high. So this is upside target. Daily doesn't look any better. Let's check out tech. Google, very nice. Broke out of this wedge. And the goal was to grab calls at the bottom of this range near it. Now it would have been tricky, but would have paid. I was not able to. I was too focused on futures. Go back to the weekly. Nice, strong. Potentially want to see a higher low and continue to push and get out of this wedge slash to this range. Apple, keep getting stuffed up here. Nice looking W though. Love seeing this gap held. Took out this supply and this supply, or I'm sorry, yeah, took out that supply and then this supply, unable to yet. I still have this gap here just because we didn't close a body above it. I call it a gap. To me, it's a volume imbalance as well, so this is just how I do it. But yeah, I don't remove these. I sometimes do. I'll remove them when a body closes above. Sometimes I don't. It's all of TA is it depends on the situation. Very subjective. So PLTR, shoulda, coulda, woulda, was stalking at the bottom of this range, and just I pay too much. My main thing is day trading futures, and beautiful gap up, all time, not all time highs, sorry, local highs, and then just slow grinding. Got stuffed at this supply here, which is going way back into initial. This is monthly chart. But look at this monthly wick. Beautiful bot dip. Now NVDA. Today I know the market dumped intraday on news about China, saying not to trust them, or yeah, something along those lines. Just something negative about China saying, which I haven't seen any other sources or them citing any sources besides it being hearsay from China. So in my opinion, that's China saying, trust me bro, don't like NVIDIA. So that means absolutely nothing to me. But and I'm not a super NVIDIA bull. Yeah, sure, I have a little bit in the long term, but I could care less if it goes to zero. So it's China. So nothing against China, but they're not the most honest. Not to get political, but it's not like America's been the most honest either. So who are we to talk? But the weekly's got this nice W, grabbed the liquidity, made a nice fake out, took all these stops on this candle, gap back up, higher low, pushing. We did get stuff this week, 2 days in a row. Kind of took out this gap, but not clean. And this is the next supply to watch for before the supply for all-time highs. SMCI had some bad news about being investigated or some kind of lawsuit. I don't really get into fundamentals, but failed to even touch this gap. Grabbed the liquidity here, failed to touch the gap. And it looks like this dip was bought, so they grab more stops and faster than they did prior. So now this previous all-time high is definitely on watch though for a lower level, but AMD trying to break out of this trend line. Broke out from a gap up, broke out, and then getting pushed back. We're holding inside, which I like to see. I love to see. And so this could be considered potentially a retest of the trend line to go higher, but we need more market generated information to find out. Tesla, little refresher on the monthly. I love this W pattern we got. We have this zone right here to where grab the stops below, and I've said this before, I really should look into the filings, but I would not be surprised if you look into the filings and see that Elon and many funds just bought this up, Tesla, in the low hundreds. And yeah, Tesla's looking really good, especially on the monthly. On the weekly, looking very good too, trying to break out of this trend line. Faked out last time, put in a higher low, which is great in this zone. And we're pushing very strong. Currently in supply, but doesn't seem to be struggling just yet. Daily even looks great. This current candle not only closed green, has that nice wick below, and is inside this candle, which we took out this gap. I don't know why it's still there. Let you guys soak with that up that chart for a minute. Sell H, nothing really to talk about. Microsoft, show the weekly. Stuffed by this daily gap last week and now pushing down. Daily, stuffed by the gap and lower high. So if this doesn't hold, we have a lower low, which is not good because that lower low also will be below this pivot. But I expect to see this to be a strong zone. But time will tell. Amazon. Long-term trend line starting January of 23, almost 2 years now. Weekly zone, could even be a monthly zone. Bought up. Higher low, push up. Got stuffed this week, but technically holding above here, so this supply could be flipping in demand right now. Took out this gap, delete that. So really want to see this zone hold. And if time goes on, it would go right to the trend line, so it'd be ideal to see a bounce right off trend line in the zone. Got game. Potential looking W still on the weekly. Grab the stops in the gap zone. Higher low. Just need that higher high for the market structure shift confirmation. On the daily, struggling to finish the gap. Especially wicking above here, grabbing stops. Bava's just been phenomenal. Let's pull up the monthly to look at the all-time. So, what a month Bava's had. Watching this IPO swing high. Just squeezing on the weekly. I mean, you can just imagine how many people were short down here, and probably still are. I'm not going to do it right now to make the video longer, but just go to FinViz and pull up the float. Check it out. See how many people are short. Very nice on the daily, just gap, 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 and these gaps are caused by most likely shorts. Crowd. Love to see this. I averaged down in my Roth during the big controversy of their systems going down or whatever, and nicely green on that. I know last week I compared it to Boeing, at least how Boeing used to be, to where when they were on a nice uptrend where, you know, they'd have plane issues, blah, 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 stock would go down, and how resilient it was. So, as you can see, not out of the woods yet, because let's just say this is when it started. So, really at the 50% mark of when it happened, the bad news. But just to see how nicely it recovered already. Bought up in the zone, major green cane, because we gapped down, major push up, higher low in a zone we created, higher high, and now we have a potential higher low here in a zone to go higher. So targets this gap. Now let's compare the RSP, which is the equal weight to SPY. RSP almost looks stronger, not really by much though. So that's good. I don't like seeing things too tech heavy. Yeah, they look pretty similar, if not RSP a little stronger. Let's look at CL. Crude oil pushed down this week, which kind of expected that. Put in a lower high. Holding this zone though. We'll see if she does. Grab the stops from it potentially. We don't know yet. And then XLE, major gap down and push up, but getting stuffed at the open of this day here. But alright guys, yeah, once again, let me know in the comments. I tried to make this week a little faster by my analysis, especially on the stock part, and I only shaved off 10 minutes compared to prior week. So have a good weekend, everybody. Study up. It's month end, it's quarter end. This is key. All the big funds are, you know, revising their portfolios. If you're a day trader, it's no excuse. Go sit at the beach, go do whatever. You should be studying your trades, studying your journal, studying your tag trades, studying your edge, studying your setups, and yeah, quarter four. Let's crush it, guys, to 2024.